already occupied years of his life. 3 days later, de Vaux replied, stating that no access could be granted without the explicit permission of the scholar who is in charge of their edition. The scholar in question was the then Father Milik, who, as de Vaux knew only too well, wasn't prepared to let anyone see anything. After all the time and effort he had invested in it, Golb was obliged to abandon his project. Since then, he told us, I have had good reason to doubt all Cross's datings of texts by paleography. On the other hand, fragments of Qumran material will be made available to researchers affiliated with the college itself, to young scholars and proteges of the international team, to graduate students under the tutelage of one or other team member, who can be assured of towing the official party line. Thus, for instance, Eugene Ulrich of Notre Dame, a student of Cross's, inherited the scroll material originally assigned to Father Patrick Skehan. He also appears to have inherited something of Skehan's attitude to other scholars. When asked why facsimile photographic editions couldn't be produced, he replied that the vast majority of people who will use these editions, including average university professors, are barely able to judge competently difficult readings. Independent scholars from Britain, the States, and elsewhere have thus found it impossible to get access to unpublished scroll material. For Israeli scholars, such access has been inconceivable. As we have noted, Father de Vaux, a former member of the notorious Action franchise, was a fairly outspoken anti-Semite to this day. Members of the Kole Biblic seem to remain hostile to Israel, even though it is supposed in theory to be a neutral enclave for impartial scholarship, a refuge from the political and religious divisions rending modern-day Jerusalem. When asked why no scholars from Tel Aviv University were involved in editing the scrolls, Strognall replied, "We are looking for quality in Qumran studies, and you don't get it there." With his characteristics and self-incriminating eloquence, the late Father Skehan effectively articulated his and his colleagues' anti-Israeli bias in a letter quoted in Jerusalem Post magazine. "I feel obliged to tell you that I should not under any circumstances grant through any Israeli functionary any permission to dispense for any purpose or to any extent of anything whatsoever that is lawfully housed in the Palestine Archaeological Museum. I regard the state of Israel and all of its personnel as having no legal standing whatsoever with respect to the museum and its contents. As we have noted, this attitude is shared by the former Father Milik,